Talking, Shashwat, in your definition, 90 million senior citizens in this country over the next 30 years, and they expect to see a 700% growth in the people below, between the ages of 60 and 80, living in India, 700% more of people in that age group. So the current assumption is that, and the other problem that we have is the socio-economic drift that you see in our markets, like you talked about the rural market, is another factor. Fortunately or unfortunately, life expectancy is still lower in the rural markets, and so you're not seeing a lot of the impact, but you will soon begin to see some of that impact come in. I don't think any economy has actually dealt with it very well. Even North America is bursting at its seams when it comes to handling or paying for senior citizens. And it's more about the burden of care over time than about a single admission. And what does happen in healthcare, at least for senior citizens, is it goes beyond the traditional definition of a single admission that you go in, but most of these people will account for a larger portion of the spend. Medicaid, as an example, at least in the United States, has been partly effective in handling or paying for some of these. But what Medicaid and most of these programs are attempting to do is to move people into what I would call gated communities, whether they're step-down facilities or assisted living units or long-term care facilities. People are attempting to move them into a step-down facility. We don't see a lot of that happening in our market yet. And I don't think that step-down facilities are the answer for our part of the world, because essentially then we're talking about building large communities. Although if you look at the policies that you've just walked through here, at least on paper, we should have had a senior citizens living facility in every district for 100 beds at least. And that, as per the guidelines in 2007, suggests that we should be doing that. But we're far from building enough bed capacity on the inpatient side. So to getting down to building an assisted living unit or an old age care home for the poor, for the destitute, who are senior citizens, is something that I think is not going to necessarily result in greater action in our market. So, I mean, in summary, I think that action here is going to have to be distinctly different, just with the larger number of the base or the volumes that we have, but also some of the traditional approaches of actually going about this to moving people into gated communities, whether that be a step-down facility or an assisted living unit, is not necessarily going to be the answer. We still do have a family system in India. We do have some family values that continue to extend beyond, and one's got to be able to leverage that. I think the one big intervention that we'll see that will change the way we look after senior citizens here is the advent of technology and home care based technologies, which are getting cheaper and cheaper every day. And I think that we really need to move away from a very traditional focus of saying let's pick them up from the home and move them into a quarantine facility, but we're going to have to actually start thinking about how do we manage them more effectively or efficiently back home.